Going on, everybody? 2 days ago, had a terrifying experience. My son was outside, and I was inside, and he was playing basketball out in the street. And one moment he came running in, and he showed me a $20 bill. He said, "Look what I got." I said, "Where did you get that?" And he went on to explain that somebody had been driving down the street, stopped, and offered him $20 if he could make a shot from pretty far away. He was proud that he made the shot. He earned $20, and we now had a great opportunity to learn a life lesson about taking money from strangers, especially ones who are in cars, and just the terrifying reality of what could have happened. And I believe he learned his lesson. Scared him a little bit. We thank God that he was safe. He was not hurt. He was not taken. And we move on. And we continue to live life. Not in fear, but just in wisdom from that experience. The next day, the Facebook posts, the news articles started rolling in of another young man who was out just for a jog, running down the road, just being outside, much like my son, and he was gunned down. And Ahmaud Arbery, his life was stolen from him, and by two white men who had chased him down and killed him just as he was out running. And that got me thinking, with those two experiences so close together, the fear and terror that I felt in that moment when my son came running in to the house and showed me and told me what happened, and the terror and the fear that I felt in that moment, again, was a moment. And this terror and fear is something that many young men, black men in this country, feel constantly. It never goes away. It's not just a teaching lesson that they learn in that moment and they don't experience ever again. They learn their lesson, they gain some wisdom from that experience, and they move on. It's day in and day out. And it got me thinking, man, it just heartbreaking what happened to this young man, and it got me contemplating what should be my response for just injustice and oppression and fear that just is permeating our culture. How do we respond? And so I just have three quick things, how we can respond to racism, injustice, and oppression in this culture of death and fear, especially as those who don't have to feel that fear and terror all the time, who don't step out of their homes just wondering, who don't watch their kids walk out the front door and just wonder what's going to happen. And so just three quick things, how we can respond with our minds, our hearts, and our hands in this time, and really be agents of life, agents of care and justice, reconciliation for all people in this time. So with our mind, just know what's going on in the world around you. Don't deny it. Don't diminish it. Certainly don't justify it, right? Don't just ignore the realities of what's happening in the world around you. There are people who can't just ignore these realities, and you have to recognize that. There are people who they live in this world and they can't even take a jog now. They can't go to the corner market. They can't just take a walk without fear and anxiety rising up within them, and justifiably so. And so there are people who can't ignore it. And so we must be a people who don't ignore it when we have the choice. Let the information that flows from the news, from the posts that you see, articles, when you gain that information, let it transform the way in which you live. Let it change the way that you interact with people, not in a way of fear and ignorance, but in a way of, let it transform you to a way of care and love and unity. Let it transform the way you teach kids and how teach your kids about how they live in this world too. Teaching them to celebrate diversity, right? Celebrate people of all different kinds, and teach them to war. Choose to go against war, against injustice and oppression, and to recognize racism when it happens. So your mind, also your heart. In moments like this, it's really easy just to change the channel, click a different post, think about something different, but we must, the Bible even says, weep with those who weep. Rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. We're in this together. If a young man being chased down in a street and murder doesn't crush your spirit, then check your pulse. What if it was your son? What if it was your grandson? What if your daughter was taken, your granddaughter was taken, and her body was destroyed? Many hearing me say this, can't understand the depth of pain and frustration and anger that many people are facing in the face of racism and the events that are happening. You just can't understand it. But you can choose to have compassion. You can choose to have kindness and courage to stand with others in solidarity. Choose that today. Your mind, your heart, and your hands. Choose to live a life just intentionally that seeks out to reach out and shake the hand of those who are different than you. And that's not just like this word picture. That's not just a play on words. Like literally choose to have unity with other people who are different than you. Be intentional and proactive in welcoming and caring for and knowing and loving and empowering those who are different from you. I pity the person who surrounds themselves only with people who are like them, who look like them, who talk like them, who shop like them, who think like them, and dream like them. Listen, if we are only going to have one dream, if we are only going to surround ourselves with people with one dream, we are going to be on a path to a colorless town. But if we dream of a world where all dreams are heard and welcomed and celebrated, the gradient of that mighty city is going to be endless and beautiful and colorful and wonderful. I know this is a difficult topic for many people to talk through and process, but I urge you to do it with your mind, your heart, and your hands today. Show compassion to somebody. Show kindness. Show frustration and anger to those. When you see injustice and racism and just oppression happening around you, have courage to stand up for those who are just tired and worn down and maybe don't have a voice left. Be a voice for all people. Let's celebrate each other. Let's celebrate the life of this young man whose birthday was today, and just look forward and fight forward for a day when we can live in a world unified and celebrating people, all people together. Thanks. Have a great day.